What is going on, represented here, back with another Honkai Star Rail guide. Today I'm here with the Pure Fiction, the best characters to use in the one that we did just get. This one's unique as they did update the playstyle of the mode, which I'm not gonna lie with you guys, it's still relatively similar. You still just take your AoE shenanigans. Usually when it matches to the weakness types and the recommended type it does say, as they're mostly weak, as it does say Imaginary Lightning for the first half and then Ice Fire on the second half. It's still pretty similar to taking AoEs. It's even more favoring AoEs now in my opinion. But overall the characters you'd expect to be the best really hasn't changed. So just like in the other ones, I'm going to be rapid firing you characters that are going to be the best to use in this, so buckle in. Anyway, before I get to the video, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the bell icon for future videos like this, and let's get straight into it. So first, taking a look at the mechanics. Activate grit mechanics. In battle to accumulate grit value and enter the surging grit phase after accumulating it to full, which after allies use skill to attack enemy targets, every enemy target hit additionally accumulates 5 grit value for all allies. So some skill characters is going to be nice. You don't have to purely focus on skill, you can still get some occasionally and still be fine, but it is a nice buff to look at. And as we take a look at the buff you do get over here, once you do trigger the Surging Grit, advances all allies' actions by 100%, increases damage received by enemy targets during this period by 50%. Additionally, after your ally uses their skill to attack an enemy target, deals an additional set amount of damage to all attacked enemy targets and adjacent targets. And if we do take a look at the buffs, we do have the new grit mechanics that it has for each one as well. So the first one, during Surging Grit, all allies' skills do not consume skill points. After a characters use skill or ultimate, they gain a stack of Feverish Surge for every enemy target hit. These stacks will increase said character's skill and ultimate damage by 4% and speed by 4%, stacking up to 10 times. And the grit mechanics is, after all allies use attack to attack enemy targets, every enemy hit additionally accumulates 3 grit value for all allies. The second one is during Surging Grit, increases all allies follow-up attack damage. After triggering a follow-up attack, deals a set amount of damage to every attacked enemy target and adjacent targets. Grit mechanic is, after allies launch a follow-up attack, every enemy target hit additionally accumulates 2 grit value for allies. And the last one is during Surging Grit, increases break damage received by enemy targets by 30%. When characters break enemy targets' weaknesses, advances the character's action by 12%. Grit mechanics is, after allies attack enemy targets, every enemy target that becomes weakness broken additionally accumulates 3 grit value for allies. Very straightforward, so mainly skill and ultimate based characters use the first one, any follow-up character the second one, and then the last one is for the break characters. For the best DPS on the first half, Rappa is going to be extremely good, since even though you're not mainly focusing on the skill, so it's a bit difficult to do the grit value stuff, you're taking her with the weakness broken buff anyways, and so she's still going to be able to accumulate a lot, and especially since, once again, as I mentioned, this favors AoE characters even more, as she does go into the Ningu Demon Maid Pedal Blade. You constantly have the blast basic attack, and on the last hit, it becomes pure AoE, constantly dealing damage to everyone, and especially since the first half is weak to Imaginary, you don't have to deal with the lowering toughness of 50% of the original value. So that's going to be a really good thing as well. So you just completely go crazy, constantly break, do a bunch of damage, easily accumulate the grit value thanks to the buff, making Rappa a fantastic option for the first half. Another fantastic option for the first half is Acheron, as you practically always will be spamming the skill in order to gain stacks for our ultimate. Once you get the ultimate, you deal the AoE move, which is practically going to wipe the field, excluding the main boss enemy. And to the boss enemy, it's going to do a lot of damage anyway, so you can constantly skill, constantly stack grit value, constantly use your ultimate pretty often under the right team. So you get the best out of both worlds for her, since once again spamming skill and then getting the ultimate, doing a bunch of damage off the ultimate, and also accumulating grit value very frequently. Acheron, fantastic option for the first half as well. Now I will specify this, even though Jingwan does seem to be pretty good in this one, I will say you definitely want to have Sunday. If you do have Sunday, Jingwan is a fantastic option, as Sunday is now able to advance forward the Lightning Lord. Lightning Lord also being purely AoE, and you can still with Sunday get 6 to 8 to 9 actions. It's really good for the Lightning Lord to hit multiple times, increasing the damage dealt and further increasing the summon damage dealt for what Sunday buffs. And all his actual attacks being purely AoE is good, since they are also weak to lightning. Getting the skill lowers their toughness, the ultimate actually does some pretty good damage too, and also lowering toughness. And then once you do pop the Lightning Lord, it practically wipes the field, excluding the elite enemies, and by elite I mean boss, and will also deal a great amount of toughness damage to them with the Lightning Lord hit and a bunch of damage at the same time, making Jingwan a great option if you do have Sunday. Another great character is actually going to be Yunli, and the reason I'm mentioning this is it does say recommended type being mainly Imaginary and Lightning, but there's actually a pretty great deal of them actually weak to physical. And Yunli and also Clara, that I'll talk about right after this, is going to benefit a lot from the actual follow-up attack buff, as they're able to gain a lot of attacks thanks to enemies actually being able to attack you on that side. On top of that, with Yunli, you're constantly spamming the skill for the actual just blast damage it does do, and also for the fact that it gives you more energy. And on top of that, it does give you the form of self-sustainability, which is going to be nice, but mainly you focus focus on her counters, which with the ultimate you get hit and then you trigger the Into a Cold, which is the full AoE damage, and is going to do so much damage to the main enemies. It's going to wipe the small enemies off, so you're going to constantly be clearing them out, which is going to be really good as well. And if you mess up at some point and get into a slash, you have the safety net from one of her bonus traces, turning the next one into a Cold, so she's a little bit safe proof there. But overall, you want to trigger Into a Cold as much as you can for the maximum value, and it's also really easy thanks to some supports we have giving her energy, which is going to make her to constantly spam ultimate, making Yunli a fantastic option. As I said, just like Yunli, Clara is a fantastic option, albeit weaker to Yunli, but again, physical DPS is going to be really good on that half as well. Mainly Clara, since just like Yunli, she's going to synergize very well with the actual follow-up attack buff. You're also going to spam her skill, preferably when you have the E1. I guess if you don't have the E1 where you don't remove the box of counter, it's a bit difficult, but if you have the E1, it makes it where you can spam it. And even if you don't have the E1, she'll be fine since you constantly get hit, and then especially when you're alt, you have the greater chance to be a hit and have the enhanced ultimate and have the enhanced follow-up attack. Constantly countering, constantly doing damage, constantly killing the smaller enemies, and if you blast and maybe hit the boss, the ones on the side are practically guaranteed to die as well. Very fast, charging the grip value thanks to her synergizing with the follow-up buff very well, making Clara another great option. For the second half, no matter if you're doing a crit style team or a break style team, Himiko is going to be extremely good, mainly for the fact of her talent, where it definitely does favor running the break style more, but even on the crit side, it's fine. Her ultimate also being AoE is going to be very helpful. It's going to do a lot of damage to enemies on the side, but once again, mainly for her victory rush, you combine this with something like just good supportive buffs from crit if you're running a crit build, which is going to allow it to do a lot of damage on its own, but especially if you're running a break based build, which is what you mainly want to do, you combine that with super break, and then this is practically going to weakness break so often and do so much damage. And since once again the ultimate and the talent both being AoE is really good, the skills blast, you kind of also spam that just to get more charge for her ultimate, so that's also nice for the grip value as well, making Himiko a fantastic option for the second half. Firefly is another fantastic option as you also do spam the skill for practically every time you do get. You never don't want to use the skill. Enter the ultimate, gain a bunch of speed, gain a bunch of turns, constantly deal break and weakness toughing damage. You're going to be able to absolutely shred through toughness bars, especially in something like Pure Fiction where their toughness bars on enemies are actually lower than normal. So it's extremely easy to break, it's extremely easy to just constantly proc the super break, kill the enemies on the side, deal a bunch of damage, and shred through the main elite enemy that you'll be dealing with, which is a boss enemy, I mean. And especially also since she pairs really well with the break buff, just like someone like Rappa running on the first half would, making Firefly a fantastic option for the second half. And probably one of the best options for the second half is going to be the regular 4-star Herda, as you do spam the skill for whenever chance you get. The ultimate's nice, again, both of them also being purely AoE is also really good. Then the talent where you get the follow-up attack is going to be really good as well. Constantly just having all sides of AoE, also being a free character that you get dupes of, easy E6 access, making her a really strong character in Pure Fiction especially. Combining her with someone like a Jade, combining her with something like a Himiko Herda team to just absolutely shred through toughness bars, shred through their HP bars, constantly deal these AoEs, it's going to stack up by killing smaller enemies inside, making you do more damage, easy charge and grip value, all that kind of stuff. Herda is a great option as well. Now I just wanted to have this little section before I do move on to the debuffers, but Jade is also going to be really good, mainly when you pair her with someone like Yunli or Clara, or if you're doing something like a crit or something like a hybrid Himiko. Anytime you're actually able to use Jade on a pretty decent side against someone that has pretty good AoEs, Jade is going to be fantastic even though they don't have constant weakness. Her damage is exceptionally good in Pure Fiction in general, and especially with the changes, she honestly is a lot stronger in the mode, even more than she already was in my opinion. With the speed buff she's able to provide with the additional physical damage for your main DPS, constantly getting the talent which is purely AoE, the ultimate which is AoE, and then getting the enhance from the ultimate, making the follow-up attack enhance and doing even more damage, and her damage output is insane. I used her for my main clear and she was just absolutely insane, just shredding through. So anytime you're able to get to use her, so once again, mainly in teams with Yunli and Clara will be your go-to Jade team since she's going to work fantastic there and you take the follow-up up. You can also run her with someone like Himiko or Herda. Anytime you're able to get the chance, she's going to be absolutely exceptionally good. For the debuffers, so real quick, I want to talk about Fugue first. She's not out yet as I'm uploading this video, but she's literally like 2 days away, so I wanted to mention her. You're mainly going to take her with Firefly or Rappa, but you can also be taking her with like a Shenanigans on a super break team because she performs well with her Foxian buff, which is going to be really nice, increasing break effect, and also letting that ally reduce toughness regardless of type. Having access to the enhanced basic skill, also getting that blast, which is going to be nice as well. So she does do better on the second half where they do have fire weakness, and then the ultimate also being pure AoE, which will help. Being a super break enabler, so once again, letting you do Shenanigans is fine, but she's mainly going to excel with someone like Rappa on the first half where unfortunately you can't deal fire weakness but has the rainbow stuff anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Own exo toughness, so that's going to be even better for re-breaking. And then on the second half with someone like Firefly is going to be really good as well, especially with someone like Himiko in the second half as well. Very good debuffer, and is going to be fantastic as an enabler slash debuffer. Jiaoqiu is another great option you can use, primarily on the second half, but probably going to be using him on the first half with Acheron. But again, he performs better on the second half, but still, you can easily use him on the first half if you are running something like an Acheron team, so that's where he's best. With his general vulnerability, he's able to do things with his talent, and then in his ultimate, where he's able to make enemies take increased ult damage, which is a fantastic pairing for someone like Yunli as well. Constantly being able to apply the Ashen Rose is mainly only good for Acheron, since that gives them stacks on the enemy's turn, which is going to give Acheron ultimate stacks on the enemy's turn, which is really broken, which is the whole reason why he's their best partner. But overall, even outside of Acheron, his debuffs, ultimate damage, you mainly get the benefit off that with someone like Yunli, but any character that likes ult damage will benefit from that. General vulnerability is going to help anyone, so that's going to be really nice as well. Also, having a bit of dot damage is going to help you go down enemies a bit quicker as well. So Jiaoqiu is a great option for a debuffer, primarily on the second half, but still good on either halves. Gwenifen's also great, as she does have a blast skill that you will spam with her, and also the ultimate, which is pure AoE, and also being the debuffer that makes enemies just have a general debuff, making them take more damage, and also being a 4-star, which means a lot of people will have access to her dupes, and which her dupes are actually pretty damn good. So overall, a good debuffer you can take. Very much going to be team dependent, just like any other debuffer, but on a budget Acheron team, on any team that might benefit from her debuffs, and then if you just need more damage to get the enemies down with the blast skill and the AoE ultimate, is going to be good. So Gwenifen is another great debuffer option. Pela is also a fantastic general debuffer option, mainly for her ultimate, so that's going to be really good. If you're running her with Herda, then it's going to be great, since she also does have the access to her E4, which if you actually take a look down here at the E4, when using skill, there's a 100% base chance to reduce the enemy's ice res by 12% for 2 turns. Synergizing great with ice DPS, but even if you're not running Herda, or the ice DPS is just kind of useless there, or you're just not really running an ice DPS at all, it's mainly for her AoE ultimate, which is going to be inflicting exposed. So anyone that's also going to be a pure AoE DPS is going to deal that much more damage to anyone on the field, easily killing the mobs on the side, dealing a bunch of damage to the main enemy. Overall, Pela is another great debuffer option. Moving on to the Harmony supports, so no shocker, Robin, even if you're not doing a follow-up team, so if you're not taking her with Yunli, Clara, you're not taking her with a crit Himiko, anything like that, just overall going to be fantastic. Practically taking her any team that's not a break team, with her damage dealt increased by 50%, which is really good, giving everyone another turn, which is going to be extremely broken in any mode you're in, giving everyone a bunch of attack, which for most DPS, that's going to be really good, increasing all allies crit damage, which for a lot of people is also going to be extremely good as well. And if you are taking it with Yunli Clara, then that's going to be great, since you get the 25% follow-up attack damage increase, so that's also going to be nice as well. And then the other best one is going to be no shocker, Ruan Mei is going to be the best in slot for any break team you're using. So if you're using Rappa, if you're using a break Himiko, if you're using Firefly, she's going to be your go-to on that team to help you absolutely shred. And she gives a 50% increase to weakness break efficiency, and also increases damage dealt by allies by 32%, giving you the all-type rest pen, delaying the actual enemy's action when their weak is broken, so that's mainly going to be good for the boss enemies. Giving everyone speed so they can act more is going to be really good, and also further enhancing the damage that the skill can provide thanks to one of our bonus traces, and also giving everyone more break effects, so especially for break characters, that's going to be great. Ruan Mei, fantastic option you can run as well. Army Trailblazer is practically going to be a must run if you are running a DPS like Rappa or Firefly, and also Himiko, assuming you're not going to be taking Fugue on that team, or if you're doing some shenanigans where one side has Ruan Mei and Fugue and Army Trailblazer, and the other one might just have the one that's remaining. Army Trailblazer, the main actual super break enabler with the insane break effect they can provide, enabling the instance of super break, which is better than Fugues, practically turning anyone into a break DPS, so with them you can do some funny shenanigans as well. So practically on any break team you want to run, they're going to be a good staple to go with. And I'm going to group these together, but Sunday, Bronya, and Sparkle. So I'm going to say Sunday is going to be the best out of them, especially on something like an Acheron team or with Danhang. So something like running him on the Acheron team is going to be great. Any team where you practically are going to want the actual action forward support, Sunday is going to be the overall best one, thanks to the buffs he can do is very well rounded. And if you're running someone like Jing Wan, then he's going to be the absolute best you could take. Crit rate buff is going to help you a lot as well, so if you have lower crit rate, that's going to be great. If you have a slightly higher one, this can practically make you guaranteed crit as well. Bronya is best if you're doing something like an E2 Bronya build on a Acheron setup. So like an E2 Bronya, E2 Acheron, where you have the speed setup where she gives the speed off the E2 and then gets Acheron up to 160 speed, but still having the -1 speed build. That's the one case where Bronya would be better than running on Sunday. Mostly Sunday is going to be the best you can take, and then Sparkle is practically good on any time you can take her as well. Overall, all these characters, all of them giving nice crit damage buffs, and then their own buffs that can give, like once again, Bronya Sunday give damage dealt, Bronya can give something like attack percent, Sunday can give crit rate, Sparkle gives you a bunch more crit damage opposed to them though, also giving you the option to spam more skill points, which in a mode like this is going to be really good if you run out. So overall, these are great options you can use as well. For the sustains, Aventurine is no shocker going to be great, as he practically makes it to where you don't have to worry about anything, as he's constantly able to refresh his shield thanks to his follow-up attack, his debuff from the ultimate being beneficial to any crit DPS, and his shield's practically just being unbreaking in the first place. You don't really use a skill, since once again you kind of refresh it with the actual follow-up attack a lot. Being a sub-DPS when built properly is also very nice, so you can help your DPS wiggle enemies down as well. Overall, great option. Grouping these together, but Linkshot and Gallagher are fantastic for your break teams, or if you're doing a follow-up based team, then Linkshot can go on something like that as well, or honestly even on Acheron teams. Overall, best on break teams, but still really good. Linkshot obviously being better, but Linkshot giving the fog debuff, making enemies take more break damage is going to be good, but also just overall really good general healer, as she's able to heal a bunch, have the automatic proc without consuming a charge for the bunnies to heal. Great healer overall. And then when it comes to Gallagher, he provides the offensive healing, and also has something similar to the fog but called Besotted, where it makes enemies take 12% more break damage. Linkshot's higher obviously, as she's a 5-star, but offensive healing that Gallagher provides is going to be really good, so these two are also great options as well. And these last three I'm going to rapid fire as well, is mainly just Huohuo, Fushuan, and Luocha. These are more of your generalist supports, as Huohuo provides really good healing, has a cleanse, but mainly for the fact that she gives everyone energy, which is going to be fantastic, especially on a hyper carry team or a Jingwon team, and also providing them with 40% attack is going to be fantastic. So a mini harmony character in an abundance character, and also provides really good healing overall. When it comes to Fushuan, she mitigates the damage, so she can also heal it back when she goes below 50. In Pure Fiction, you don't really have to worry about dying too much with a good sustain, and Fushuan still performs well, especially since she also does provide a buff of max HP, and also gives your allies 12 crit rate, which is really nice. Using the ultimate also can provide not only a charge but also some heal, so overall really good there. So Fushuan is also great, and Luocha unfortunately is on the weaker side, but he's also a character that makes it where you practically don't have to worry about anything on the sustain side, as you practically never have to use the skill. The ultimate comes up really easily, and it also can kind of help with a bit of damage there as well, and also having the ability to provide offensive healing, which overall is the highest healing output that a healer can provide. Luocha has that. He's still one of the highest healing outputs you can get. Overall, just a great option for pure healing output, so also a good option you can use. Now for when you're taking what buff on what team, this is extremely obvious this time. Any form of team that mainly just relies on the skill and ultimate for their damage, you would take the first one. If they're a follow-up based team that you are taking, then you would take the second one, and any break team you take relating to that will be the third buff. They made it very simple and streamlined, so like something like an Acheron team will take the first one, a Clara Yunli team or one of the two will take the second one, and then something like a Firefly or Rappa team will take the third one. And episode that is the video. I know fast-paced, but as I mentioned, it would be similar to the other ones. Best characters, also be sure to comment down below what teams and setups you've been using with what buffs, so you can give other players even more ideas. Anyway, hope you found the video helpful. Peace out.